Hello, my name is Shalay, and on this channel we dive deep into concepts surrounding spirituality, multidimensionality, and even extraterrestrials. And that was Anna Jen's attempt to try to unleash herself. Love that. Stop it. I was sick for a week with COVID. I honestly thought that I was one of those people that were like never gonna get COVID because I had dodged it for like 2 years and I was like, I'm not a vibrational match for COVID, blah, 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 blah. Eclipse season took me for a journey, like took me on a ride. I wanna know like, how was your eclipse season? And I don't want to take on the belief that astrological transits do this to us. Honestly, they only reveal the things that are still deep within us, the things that need our attention. And everything in this universe is meant to work in harmony. It's meant to work in unison. Nothing was ever made to be like separate. Like we all influence each other. The reason why I love to follow astrological transits is because it helps me to navigate what I'm going through. I know for me personally, when I'm going through challenging times, if I'm aware of what's happening astrologically and the energy that's being presented to us, it's like an opportunity for me to alchemize whatever I'm going through. It just helps me understand what's happening and then be able to be like, okay, I see this happening in my reality. It really sucks right now and I know I feel it and I understand why it's being shown to me because it needs to be cleared. Like this is a pattern that exists in my life. This is a thought process that holds me back from reaching my ultimate potential. It's important to kind of have that awareness of what's happening, but it doesn't take away from the experience that you're going through in that moment. If you're afraid of like triggers coming up, then that's you hiding, right? That's you not dealing with aspects of yourself that are looking for attention. Ever since I've developed practices that help me to actually process emotions and go into those scary emotions safely, that has like changed the game in how I then go about my life. I am not scared of like triggers coming up or lessons coming up because I'm ready for it. I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity, you know, I get to embody my higher self in this moment. I get to make a different choice, right? I get to make a choice that's going to support my evolution as a soul and where I want to go.
Coming out of the eclipse portal, I reconnected to some practices I used to do. One of my favorites was to work with the goddess of abundance, Lakshmi. In my Manifesting Success Stories video, I explain how I manifested the success of my readings business through this exact ritual. So firstly, you want to set up an altar. You want your altar to represent what abundance means to you. You can place jewelry at your altar, crystals, money, honestly, whatever you like. I love to have a candle and some Palo Santo at my altar. I cleanse myself and my space using Palo Santo and light language. Light language is something that I've been working with to program crystals and cleanse my space or my energy. This clearing method has been incredibly powerful in my experience. After I do that, I read out my monthly affirmations and intentions. As I'm reading my affirmations, I really focus on feeling it all throughout my body. I love to put my hand on my heart when doing this because it really helps me to tap into my heart chakra and the frequency of love and support. I then hop onto Spotify to put on the mantra. It goes for about 8 minutes and it's so vibey. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. Then I just dance and sing it out. Every day is unique. Some days I like to just sit there, other days I move a lot. Trust your intuition on this. I also love to visualize the things that I'm calling in while doing this. Side note, make sure to call in Lakshmi and whoever else you want to be there to help charge your intentions for the month. Be very intentional while doing this because what you think about and the vibration that you're in will manifest. Just a side note, guys, it is a 40-day goddess devotion, so you do have to show up consistently for 40 days. If you miss a day, then you do have to start from day 1 again. Happy manifesting, guys. Let me know if you try this out. Meet Monty. Monty the Python is what we call her. Monty is a valued member of this family. We have had her for 3 years, 4 years now maybe. 21. I got her when I was 21. How old am I? Oh my god, I'm turning 26 this year. I've had you for 5 years, babe. I feel like we've known each other for lifetimes. They're the perfect balance between masculine and feminine energy, I find. She also shared with eclipse season, so I love that. I love how symbolic that is. And it's just a reminder of how we basically all went through that process of shedding out the shit that doesn't serve us, being confronted with things that we need to see, things that need to be healed, that need our attention, whatever that looked like for you. So basically with the eclipse on the weekend when I ended up getting COVID, I ended up reaching my all-time low. I was depressed prior to having my spiritual awakening. So I was actually suffering with extreme anxiety, extreme depression, panic attacks. It was one of the most challenging times of my entire life. That year, that's when I lost my dad, and just a bunch of other things happened that aren't really worth getting into, but it basically led to me being completely like depressed, confused, and just anxious every single day. It basically manifested to the point of me not wanting to be here anymore, and I was like at the point of having suicidal thoughts. That's a place that I'd never been before, and it was quite scary when I got there. I remember being so open with the people around me. I remember really speaking about what was happening and just watching everyone around me feel so hopeless and helpless with what I was going through. Like they were just like, I don't know how to help you other than you need to talk to someone, you need to talk to someone. And at the time, I didn't think mental health was worth my financial investment. And I wish I had a different mindset. I wish I had a different approach with it, because I think like having access to therapy and things like that is such a beautiful tool that we can use to better understand our minds and ourselves. But at the time, I obviously didn't deem myself important enough. When the pandemic hit and the world shut down, that was when I was faced with all of my demons, and I started to meditate and I got myself out of it. It led to a spiritual awakening. I was an atheist prior to having my spiritual awakening, so it was such a journey, and I'm about like maybe 2 years into my journey now, because it started in 2020. So anyway, I ended up getting COVID really badly. I ended up going through this massive like death portal where I basically feel like I went back to that 2019 version of me who was extremely depressed, confused, anxious, and just completely uninspired by life. I was in such a negative place. And I revisited those feelings on the weekend with the intensity of the eclipse. And I was also going through my bleed. So I was literally bleeding with the eclipse. I just felt defeated. I was like, why did that happen? Like, I've been doing the work. I've been alchemizing everything. Like, that was intense. I didn't even know that those feelings were still like within me. And I was really like thinking about that death portal that I was just in. And I ended up getting this like message, and it was clear as day, and it was that my council of light wanted to talk to me. Now, for those of you that don't know what a council of light is, we basically all have a council, a group of souls that we've consulted prior to coming here, where we've contracted on an experience that we want to have on earth. I want to come here to learn self-love, or I want to come here to do this, blah 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 blah. And there's like a bunch of things that we're here to do, but essentially your council will help guide you back on your path and where you're supposed to be. And you can access your council through the Akashic records usually. I hadn't been there in a very long time, so I got this message that they were calling me, and I thought, you know what, no, it's just a thought. And many of us do this when we get intuitive hits, because it comes in your own voice. So you think, oh no, like I'm just making this up. When you've practiced like following your intuition, you actually can feel the difference of when your intuition is coming in compared to when your ego is coming in. I was in a pretty low place, and I was just thinking, maybe that's just my mind. Maybe that's me just trying to find answers, or, to what I experienced. So anyway, I ended up like ignoring the voice. I ended up getting extremely dizzy, and it was quite profound. I had to stop, and I was like, whoa, like what was that? And immediately I just had this feeling of like, I can't work through this. Like I just need to
I need to chill. Like something is happening. It felt like something was calling me. That's what it felt like. It felt like something was calling me. So I grabbed my tarot deck, and I recommend like tarot and oracle cards, particularly if you are struggling to decipher between what's going on in your head. It's really good to like ask cards that you trust, and that way you can see whatever's being presented in the pictures, whatever message comes behind that card. It supports your intuition and where your guides are trying to nudge you to go. So it's a really good way to like access your intuition and practice deciphering between your egoic thoughts and your intuitive thoughts. You right there, babe? I'm pretty sure it was like a starseed deck that I grabbed. So I pulled a card. The card that pops out is the Council of Light card. I'm like, of course, you cannot make this up. So I was like, okay, they're clearly calling me. I went up there and the message was as clear as day. I was like, why did I have to go through that? Like, why did I have to revisit those really dark thoughts, those really dark feelings? I'm like, that was intense. Like, I thought I left that behind 2 years ago. My counsel were like, you needed to experience those moments of darkness again because you had forgotten the progress that you have made so far. You had forgotten how far you have come. We tend to forget what we've come out of because we're so programmed to like go, 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 or like, focus on the future. And they were like, you needed to be not only release those final emotions because they were clearly still there, otherwise I wouldn't have had to go through that. I had to revisit those dark feelings to the extent that I did to remind myself exactly what it took for me to get out of that, of the perseverance, of the showing up every single day, of the determination it took for me to get to this place of loving life and creating my very own like heaven on earth. And I want to share that with you because many of us have created so much change in our lives already, and we can get down on ourselves and be like, oh, but I'm not here and I haven't achieved this yet. Take this as an opportunity to just take a moment and reflect on how far you've come. Just think about how much change you've made so far. You have to be so proud of yourself, so proud of your journey. And honestly, going through that again was just another reminder that we are here to enjoy the journey. We aren't here to enjoy the destination. Once you get to the destination, trust me, like I've gone to many destinations that I was like, if I manifest this, all will be good. Once you get there, it's just like, okay, cool. Now I want the next thing. Like we want the journey. We strive for the journey. We even like the challenge a little bit. We like that it's a little bit hard because it's like all the more rewarding when you actually get the things. So take a moment to honor yourself today. Be grateful for all that you've shed so far, for how much change you've created in your life so far. And this is your reminder to enjoy the journey. I keep asking myself every day, if I died tomorrow, would I be happy with how I live today? I don't want to live my life for a potential outcome of the future. Like I have dreams and inspirations and all of that, and that's amazing, and those desires are there for a reason, right? They want me just as much as I want them, just like your desires want you just as much as you want them. However, we're meant to be finding the feelings that we're going to get out of those desires in our life right now. Right now, how can you feel abundant? Right now, how can you feel gratitude? Right now, how can you romanticize your life? So I encourage you to just try to enjoy your life every single day in anything that you're doing, whether you're making food. How can you make that like an enjoyable process? Put on some music, listen to a book that inspires you, listen to a podcast that inspires you. Fill your life up with things that make you go, if I died tomorrow, I'm good with how I live my life today.
Coming out of the eclipse portal, I've also noticed how important it is to be intentional with the words that we use. Saying things like I get to rather than I have to completely changes the way that you show up in every area of your life. Your life should be full of I get tos rather than I have tos. So after completing my I get to task, it was my job to get dinner ready tonight. I'm really all about setting up the vibe. My salt lamp was broken. I had no idea. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. Kidding, of course. I also like to put on some nice incense, and you can see we have a little visitor Twitter. I had to show you how cute Simba, aka Tootsie, looked, all curled up on the smallest pillow in the world. And why not show you the entire family at this point? So there's Mr. Trampman and Sir Alpha. I love receiving signs and messages from the universe. Spirals and 888 have been in my reality every day, and they represent expansion and abundance for me. Let me know what your sign from the universe is. Finally, I like to get caught up on voice notes, podcasts, and Audible books while I'm cooking. I really just feel into the day, and sometimes I just cook in silence, or maybe I'll put on a little bit of music. This time, I really wanted to listen to my friends while I was cooking. I'm really about making every day as magical as possible, and today I felt like eating dinner by candlelight, and that's about it for today. So remember to take what resonates and to leave what doesn't. But as always, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.